What's up, you guys? Welcome to the Hot Chai Pod, a podcast where we dive into all of that sizzling Bollywood tea. I'm your host, Jazz, and we're experimenting today. We're experimenting with our microphone, with no headphones, so we're going to try it out. And we always experiment a little here. We have the different cameras and the different lights, and it's a work in progress. And I guess it's episode 15 already, but yeah. I'm allowed to still be a work in progress. It's actually, a lot of progress all around. A lot of progress all around. It's been a very chattering kind of week. A lot of industry chatter, and all I'm seeing right now about chatter is Shraddha Kapoor. She's everywhere. Don't skip ahead if you're oversaturated. I just feel like it just is this whole thing about she's climbing with the followers, and first she's the 5th most followed, now the 4th, and now the 3rd. And then they keep showing who she still hasn't surpassed, which I guess is Virat Kohli and maybe Modi. I don't know. And right now it's the big thing is she surpassed Priyanka Chopra with followers, which kind of makes sense. It's just you can only hold on to your crown for so long, and then there's a new big blockbuster, there's a new it girl, and everyone's looking and everyone's trying to deep dive and analyze and what does it mean? Is she the organic queen? Is this who the people really want? And I don't think it's that serious. I don't think it's that deep. I think she's just really hot. Not to play down her talent or her presence or whatever, but a big factor of why her and not, Rashmika Mandana, who's an animal. That was a big movie, right? I think Shraddha, she has some sort of presence that a lot of people like. She has that kind of unattainable yet attainable beauty or something, right? And she has this very, bubbly persona, and she, I don't know. She's feeding people jalebis. I guess people like that. That's what people are liking. A hot girl feeding people jalebis and, talking in Hindi. They talking in an accent. She does all sorts of accents on her, interviews and her page, and yeah, what's not to like? And I guess, she's just going to keep racking up these followers because Stree 2 continues to be a very big blockbuster. And so, I gotta watch it. I gotta watch the first one. I still haven't seen it. I'm not even going to call any of this. This is all not a hot take. This was lukewarm at best. Lukewarm tea. But if we are talking hot, we're going to talk about the Dhoom franchise today. So there is some buzz that they might be reprising the series for a 4th installment. And you might be wondering, who asked for this? Did anybody ask? Were you wondering, when is there going to be another Dhoom? Well, this time I will tell you, I do see this come up. I do see this come up where, people are like, oh, do a Dhoom 4. When's Abhishek doing Dhoom 4? Especially because he was in the news. And you gotta love the internet, it's giving the producers ideas. And I feel like it's A/B testing when they throw out casting rumors and they're gonna be a Dhoom 4, and they like to see how people respond online and stuff. Now what we're seeing is oh, is it gonna be Ranbir Kapoor in Dhoom 4? Is it gonna be Shah Rukh Khan? And more on that in a little bit. But what you're getting all this buzz. So first Dhoom we had John Abraham. Hello. And he's there, he's on his bike, he's the villain, right? The motorcycle was the big thing in Dhoom 1. And then Dhoom 2, it is Dhoom 1 on steroids, basically. So it's bigger, better, the songs are better, they're in all these, they're in Brazil, they got Hrithik Roshan, Aishwarya Rai, they beefed up the cast and the dancing and the tans, and yeah, it was just a bigger production for sure. And so they thought they could top it. Okay, they thought they could top it. They put in Amir Khan in Dhoom 3. And, of all the choices, they thought, okay, Amir Khan, let's get one of the 3 Khans. I think that was the reasoning. That would be my understanding is how much bigger can we keep going? And, in that case, bigger star, not always better, because they had some of the best eye candy, right? It's a villain. It's an action hero. You got John Abraham, you got Hrithik Roshan, and now you're giving me Amir Khan. I don't know for this. And they did have Katrina Kaif come in, do the eye candy, do her comedy dancing. But otherwise, I barely remember her from the movie. And what I remember from the whole plot is a very weird take on a villain. It's like sentimental. There's like a special needs twin brother. So Amir Khan is playing two roles. And it just, the movie was very traumatizing to me. I think I repressed a lot of the plot, if I'm being very honest. I repressed it. That script, whoever wrote that script, jail. Straight to jail. So now we're hearing Dhoom 4. And what is that even going to look like? You know, is it Abhishek Bachchan? Is he coming back? Does he even suit this anymore? You know, is Uday Chopra coming back? Like, I don't know if this is going to have the same effect as it has. I mean, it's been many years since all this came out. And I know probably maybe Uday Chopra is the one spreading all these rumors, because obviously he's been donezo. He's been gone. And that man came back on my screen with The Romantics and that documentary about, you know, Yash Chopra and, you know, Rush Raj Films and that whole thing. And they put Uday Chopra in there, maybe a little too much. You know, we don't have to do a throwback to his scenes and his movies. We don't need to do a throwback. It's okay. Don't put a shadow on this very lovely biography of your father and his talent. And your dad, you know, your dad's making all these amazing films, and then you think, well, let me just put my like random son in there. Like, and I say that because it's not a Hrithik Roshan kind of son that got put in the film. Okay? It's Uday Chopra. And nobody asked for that. Nobody asked for that. I'm sure there's fans. There's always fans, especially in India. There will always be fans. Like, it's a big population. And I don't know. Maybe he just shouldn't be reminding everyone. So I think maybe he's coming back. He's coming back, maybe. Is he going to still be like the goofy sidekick? You know, they could be rebooting the whole thing, and they could maybe cast in some fresh faces for the cop roles and the villain. And so we're hearing Ranbir Kapoor and Shah Rukh Khan. These are the names coming up. And like, does this make sense? I don't know. Like, Shah Rukh Khan, right now he's shooting a movie King. So I think it's like a villainy action role for him there. And then is there a Pathaan 2? Is that coming out? Is that on hold? I heard whispers that maybe Pathaan 2 was in the works. Maybe they have to wait for Deepika and her filming schedule because of the pregnancy and the baby. Or maybe, you know, maybe they're like, we don't need another Pathaan. You can have Dhoom 4. This is what you get. You want a sequel? You're getting Dhoom 4. And maybe John Abraham will come back too. So I don't know. Would he really, I guess, just like an ego perspective, would he really want to follow up the role that Amir Khan had already done? And like, that just doesn't really seem like his style, but you never know. Maybe he would do it to show like, look, I can do this, and like, you couldn't do it. Which brings us to Ranbir Kapoor. I think, he could play a villain, of course, but I could see it. But if I like erase Dhoom 3, like, let's just pretend it never happened, okay? So we have John Abraham, we have Hrithik Roshan. And then we have Ranbir Kapoor. Ranbir Kapoor, beautiful man, hot man. I am a fan, despite all of my trash talking. I am a fan. But is it like hunky macho man? You know, like, I don't know. Is he like villain hot, which is a different kind of hot, which we discussed the other week with Haseen Dilruba and all that. I don't know. I'm gonna pull up some of his shirtless pictures, and I can do a better job of understanding the landscape we're working with here. And
we used to go out at night. He's like, wipe that off, because he loves the natural.
I guess as long as they're not putting Tiger Shroff or something in, I'll watch it. That's all we can really hope for. Don't make a mistake. Well, in other Shah Rukh Khan casting and sequel news, so Farhan Akhtar was speaking about Dawn 3. So this interview, or I saw some quotes or something from him, and he's basically making it seem like he first wrote the script for Dawn 3 and then realized, no, I don't want Shah Rukh Khan in this. Which is bold. It's a bold thing to say. Dawn 3's story didn't make sense for Shah Rukh Khan to be a part of and to play. And that seems kind of weird to me. Like, you killed your own franchise? Because you didn't think about that, like, the hero of the first two movies should be in the next movie? Like, am I hearing this correctly? Am I not getting it? You know, like, it's possible. It's possible. I'm not understanding, like, the artistic vision. You know, who am I to judge someone's artistic vision? I guess that's the whole point of this podcast. I just wonder, like, could he have made like a different kind of crime movie? You know, so they part ways. Shah Rukh Khan and Farhan Akhtar for this Dawn 3 script. And then he brings in Ranbir Singh. And, it's interesting to come out now, and maybe it's just to generate a little buzz and keep his name there and this project there in the limelight, because I thought, I think like most people, we all thought maybe Shah Rukh Khan declined to do Dawn 3 and was like, okay, the story ends there. Dawn 2 definitely was not as big as the first Dawn that he was in, but it's just it's this iconic role. It's Amitabh Bachchan's Dawn, and there was already so much naysayers and blowback when Shah Rukh Khan took the role over. So it's a pretty bold move to be like, yeah, I'm not even going to think about that hero, and the Dawn himself is irrelevant. The script is more important, and I'm going to, I don't know. I'm not. It's not to say I'm not excited. I love Ranbir Singh. I love him. It's just an interesting thought. It's an interesting choice from a filmmaking and keeping the franchise brand, intact. And we'll just have to see. I think that starts shooting early next year, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll keep an eye out here. In other filming news, it's a very filming heavy episode. We have Alia Bhatt. She's in the headlines for a couple films. So she has Alpha. I think it's wrapping up that filming with action movie. More on that in another episode. And then Love and War. So that's Sanjay Leela Bhansali movie. Ranbir Kapoor, Vicky Kaushal is the second hero role. And actually tying in Ranbir Singh, he was extremely miffed because he was offered the second hero role. So he was going to play second hero to Ranbir Kapoor, who we've discussed this, I think, in a previous episode. I'm going to have to go back and look what episode it was. But what I forgot is the dynamic of this movie in general. Did we discuss it? It's just, Bollywood is so incesty. At first you had Ranbir versus Ranveer. We obviously know why that's funny. And then now we have Vicky Kaushal versus Ranbir, which is almost funnier. It's almost like a bigger escalation. And it's fine. But in this movie, they're what? It's a war film? Is it a serious film? Is it a melodrama? Ranbir Kapoor and Vicky Kaushal fighting over Alia Bhatt? Is that believable? It is shady boots to say it, but it just feels like a stretch. It feels like a stretch. I love Alia. I love her as an actress. I love a lot of her movies. I'm definitely a big fan, but it feels like a stretch for these two big hunky men to be fighting over Alia Bhatt. I don't see it. I love her. It's not Shray Rai Hum Dil De Chuke Sanam, or Deepika in Padmavat, where people are going to the ends of the earth, to protect this woman, or conquer another colony or man, or fight your enemies to hold on. It's an ethereal beauty. I feel that inspires that. I don't know. I don't think I'm being mean. I think I'm keeping it real. I think you have to know people's strengths. You gotta know people's strengths. They always say oh, if you have a modern face, you shouldn't be cast in a period film, right? They say things like that. So I don't know why we can't say if you're not this ethereal, out of this world, godly, goddess beauty, should you really be in this epic film about two men? I don't know. We're just gonna have to see. I don't know the entire script yet. And, it'll be actually very interesting of a dynamic, because we all know Alia and Vicky have chemistry from Razi. So we know that. And we all know Alia and Ranbir have zero chemistry.
We used to go out at night, he's like, wipe that off. Wipe that off, because he loves the natural.
Just, juxtaposition of sorts. Maybe Sanjay Leela Bhansali will be able to coax the chemistry out of them, because he is a magician of sorts, and we'll see. Filming starts soon, apparently, for the guys in a couple months, and then I think towards the end of the year, Alia joins the shoot. And why do we even know any of this? Is that we are sitting here, getting these updates kind of forced down our throat on different social media sites and apps, and here I am shoving it down your eyes and ears. And it's just in the past week or so, actually, I've noticed a big influx of news. So around Love and War, around Alpha, around Jigra, the movie coming out with Alia and Vidang Raina. And then I saw all these posts, a series of posts celebrating Alia Bhatt and Ranbir Kapoor's love story. I'm like, what is this? And then I saw random paparazzi shots of her coming out in her shorts, walking the baby, bringing a t-shirt and slides. That's another episode. by the way, which is, the era of the glamazon. Apparently, model off duty is that not a thing anymore? Like, you're just gonna walk around your slides and t-shirt? Like, I don't even wear that to the bank. That's not just for Alia. That's like across the board in Bollywood. That's what I'm seeing off duty. Like, come on, live a little. You're supposed to be A-list, It does seem like the couple's trying to like conjure up a little press, because nobody's really been talking about them. It's been all about Shraddha Kapoor. It's been this huge thing about Shraddha for the past couple weeks, and a little bit you see Sharvari here because she had that movie come out, and I don't know, maybe they just are trying to get back in the news, light up social media, and be like, hey, reminder, I'm still the queen of Bollywood. And I saw there was this Ormax poll that came out and said, Alia Bhatt's the most popular actress in India, and I don't know how much I trust that poll. I sound like a conspiracy theorist. I sound like an election denier, but I'm curious. Never underestimate the power of paid posts and paid PR and networking. And yeah, maybe she is really the most popular actress right now. So maybe this whole segment is going to be very poorly received. So speaking of Vicky Kaushal, so today our movie recap is a movie called Love Per Square Foot. Okay, it came out in 2018. And whereas, this is a Vicky Kaushal movie, the lead actress, her name is Angira Dar, and she's definitely lesser known. So she was in this web series, it was called Bang Baja Barat, but I haven't seen it. She was in a couple other movies, something with Ajay Devgan. This movie, and I was surprised I hadn't heard more about it because the ratings, like Rotten Tomatoes, Google reviews, it's like coming out, it's like 75%, people approve, liked it. So I was like, what is this movie? 2018. It's a while ago. And it's a cool premise, basically, housing crisis. And, finding love or getting married or moving in with someone because of housing. And it's very like New York City of them. In Sex and the City, they actually say, would anybody get married in New York if there were infinite apartments and housing? So that's basically the question here. In this movie, which sounds strange, but they are in Mumbai, and Vicky Kaushal's character is named Sanjay, called Sanju, and then Angira's character is named Karina, and so she lives with her mom, who's very overbearing and oppressive, and they both are just feeling very stuck. Sanjay, Sanju, whatever, lives with his parents. I keep wanting to call him Vicky Kaushal. Sanju lives with his parents and in railway housing because his dad works for the railway, and it's very cramped, and you can't get a bathroom, and that's basically how the movie opens up, is that he's sitting in his apartment on his roof trying to brush his teeth. He can't get into the bathroom. There's too many people going in and out of it, and very relatable if you've ever had siblings and tried to all get ready for school in the morning, or had roommates and I'll try to get ready for work in the morning. I remember I used to have to wake up so early to try to get ahead of the rush, and also so they wouldn't dirty up the bathroom before I had to go in it, because it would just gross me out and ruin my morning, that people had already been in there and it was all wet, and the shower curtain, maybe they had it in wrong or whatever. Those were nightmares. Those were New York apartment nightmares, and I want to reiterate that that trauma doesn't leave us. You stay scarred, and then you finally appreciate all the space you have, and sometimes you don't know what to do with it. So this movie, I guess the biggest question is Vicky Kaushal with a beard or Vicky Kaushal with no beard. Last week I was like, oh, why cover up a pretty face with a beard? I don't like it that the Roy Kapoor's beard. It's too much. Flip-flop on that. I'm going to flip-flop. Vicky Kaushal with a beard. I like a little scruff on him. I think it adds a little, masculine energy, or, makes him just adds a little edge, maybe makes him look a little bit more bad boy, because otherwise he seems very much like a nice guy. And so that is the premise of the movie. It does make sense for him. And so in the movie, he's at work. He's kind of, simple, software engineer, working at this big company. He's dating his higher up, unbeknownst to anybody. And she actually, this is his higher up, okay? Like a boss or something. She's kind of like a boss. She calls him, she's like, my slave. And you could see his acting. He is a very natural actor. He really is. he might not be always like the hottest guy on, in Bollywood or whatever, like the most glamorous, but he is very natural on screen. You just see him like, oh, I can't believe she's calling me a slave. So it turns out his higher up, Rashi, she actually has a boyfriend, but whatever. She's dating Sanju as well, Vicky Kaushal's character. And then he meets this Karina at a party that they're all at. And turns out Karina also works at the firm as well. And he's desperate to move out. Okay, he's desperate. He works at a bank, and so he fills out a home loan, thinking it'll push him to the front of the line or whatever. And Karina, this girl that he had met at the party, works there, rejects the application. She's like, sorry, you're like way too poor. So, there's this advertisement that keeps coming about. And it's called the Jeevan Sati, like, housing scheme or lottery or something. And basically, like, you're a, if you're a married couple, you can apply and you might be able to buy this house, like, at a cheaper, like, subsidized price. And the issue is he's a mistress, and Karina actually also has a boyfriend. So who's getting this house, So Rashi, the higher up, says, like, come have dinner with me. He shows up. She ties Rocky on him. Okay, ties Rocky on him and invites him to a surprise dinner with her boyfriend. Basically to get the heat off of her, which is brilliant, honestly. She's like, oh, it's my brother. Because you know what? This actually did happen. Hate to speak ill of the dead or whatever, but Sridevi actually tied Rocky on Boney Kapoor. Throwback to last week's episode. But she tied a Rocky on Boney Kapoor so that his ex-wife, or, wife at the time, wouldn't get suspicious and was like, oh, that's so cute, brother-sister kind of relationship. Maybe in Alabama, brother and sister kind of relationship. So anyway, so she ties the Rocky. And then you see in this next frame, Karina is at dinner with her boyfriend, and he basically announces like, oh, I'm going to start working for this NGO, or I want to start an NGO, and I want to go travel around for a few months, and then we can get married. And Karina is distraught. Obviously, who wants a boyfriend who's just going to pick up and leave, And she'd been really counting on getting married and living together because her whole house is like crumbling around her. Like it's falling apart. Literally, there's like multiple shots in the movie where like the ceiling, like bits of it collapses and like the dust gets all over her mom. And so she's all depresso about that. Sanju's all depresso about his, girlfriend who has a boyfriend. And basically he suggests to Karina, so now he knows Karina and they've, talked about their horrible living situations. And he suggests like, we should apply for this Jeevan Sati apartment thing together. And she's like, bro, you have to be married. And he's like, yeah, well, we'll just like figure all that out. And she's like, I'm not doing that. Like, I don't even really know you. So then she's like, whatever, I'm not even going to think about this. She goes to see her boyfriend. Boyfriend has a surprise for her. And he's built her this guest room. And he's like, you could stay here while I'm traveling. And she's like, this guest room is where I'm going to live. None of the windows open. And he's trying to like flex and be like, I got a butler for you. But you basically have to put on like a smoke alarm. And then the butler comes, I don't know. It's a strange little setup, And I'm remembering all this now. It's very clear in my mind. None of the windows are opening. And so she runs to Sanju and she says, let's do the lottery application. Like, I'm not dealing with this anymore. And then Sanjay, he's all excited. But he's like, how are we going to get around some of these restrictions? We're not married, like down payment is another big barrier. You have to put in like a deposit. And so there was this guy on the train earlier in the movie. This guy on the train, he's getting pickpocketed. Sanju is helping him catch the pickpocketer and get his wallet back and stuff. And so this guy is also working for this Jeevan Sati lottery business. So he sees him and he's like, this guy's going to be our ticket. He's going to help us. And they explain the situation to him. And the guy kind of like pretends he's helping of sorts. And he's like, all right, we did it. And so Sanju and Karina are like, well, what did you do? And he's like, once you get approved for the house, then you guys have to get married within 2 weeks. So they're both a little like, you know, what is this pickle? We both, one has a girlfriend, has a boyfriend. Are we ready to break up? There's all these questions and they're very confused. And so, they're talking to each other. Maybe we could rent it out, which is always smart. Or maybe we could just sell it and like split the profits, which is also not a bad idea because then they could go on, maybe buy their own homes. But they're just, they're worried. They hop on a train together. Then, of course, you gotta love a train in a Bollywood rom-com. You gotta love some train work. It's very sexy train work. You got him leaning over, it's a crowded train, so he has to protect her from all the people coming onto the train and leaning in. And somehow or another, they start making out. Yeah, in front of everybody. People are staring. Okay, this is an Indian train. You can't just be making out. This is not New York City, as it happens. And so she freaks out, runs away, runs to her boyfriend, or doesn't, writes him a letter, then runs back to Sanju, meets up with him at his house late night. They go on his roof. And she's like, yeah, I dumped my boyfriend. Let's get together. I dumped him via letter. So then I'm like, okay, well, how long is this movie? We're only halfway through the movie and they're already like happy couple. Where's the drama? Where's the high stakes? So of course, I'm not going to complain. First of all, a whole romantic sequence of them making out all over the city and they're falling in love and they're getting together, whatever. I didn't get it before. You are not even watching the Karina character. You're just watching him, to be honest. So anyways, his higher up still wants to keep this affair with him. And so she's like, throw me a work event for my party, throw me a birthday party, whatever. And he's feeling a little trapped because he needs to go and get this deposit check from her, from his like work savings account or something. And he wants like an advance or whatever. And she's like holding it over his head. So they're all at this party and she basically lures him to her room or something. And then he wakes up all confused, but he has the payment check. And basically he cheated on Karina with Rashi to get this check in his mind. Or was he drunk? What happened? He doesn't remember. He doesn't know really what to do because Rashi is single too. That's like the big like reveal that happened that night, is that her boyfriend was cheating on her with some chick named Vanessa, some hoe named Vanessa. And so she's like trying to get revenge and she's like, you know what, Sanju, like I'm committing to you. We're going to do this together. And so it's all a cluster. Okay. It's a cluster. And there's some very good questions that happen here because he's trying to avoid Rashi and this whole situation. But what I can see some blackmail coming a mile away. Okay. And they're telling their parents. The parents are now unsure. Karina's parents, Sanju's parents, she's Christian, he's Hindu. They're like, yeah, they even have to ask themselves, would we be getting married if there was no flat? And that, would anyone get married if we could all happily live separately for the rest of our lives? I don't know. These are good questions one should ask themselves before they move in. So anyway, he comes clean. He's feeling guilty. Sanju comes clean to Karina and he's like, yeah, I had a little rendezvous. And she's pissed. Of course, she's super pissed. She wants to dump him. She's like, oh, really? And he's like, well, you kind of cheated on like your boyfriend too, like before you broke up with him. She's like, it's not the same. I broke up with him. And he's like, well, I'm telling you. And like, she goes to her friend. She's all despondent. And the friend is like, girl, get over it. You're about to have everything you want. You're going to need this nice house, nice man. Like, who are you to complain? But she's going to complain. And so what she doesn't know is that their parents are planning a surprise wedding because they were just supposed to get to the court because they've got the house now, right? So they were just supposed to get to the court. And now the parents want to do a whole wedding in front of the house. And they're supposed to do it within a couple days. But then another surprise is Rashi kind of concocts like, oh, I have a pregnancy scare. I'm pregnant. Take me to the gynecologist, whatever. And like you can kind of just tell, this is obviously just a bait. This is just to keep him hooked because she can sense like he's moving on with Karina. Karina overhears all this drama. And then Rashi's ex-boyfriend, who was allegedly cheating on her, he shows up. There's almost like a fight sequence. He's trying to was my camera rocking? Whatever. He's trying to knock out, Sanju, but then he accidentally knocks out Rashi. And then he's like, I'm not cheating on you. I was hacked or whatever. So then Rashi is like, I made up that whole pregnancy. And honestly, we didn't even hook up. And then Sanju wants to kill her. Okay, he wants to kill her. And he's just like, what? And she's like, sorry, you were my plan B. Gotta love a plan B pun. Feels like a nightmare. It is a nightmare. Karina's like, this is dirty and gross and cheap. I just want to sell the house. I don't want to do any of this. All of this started on a bad foot. We did this just to get a house. Was it worth it? And so she's trying to basically dump Sanju at this point. And so he goes and he's trying to convert the property to his name and going behind her back. Meanwhile, the wedding is still being planned because the parents don't know. We obviously know he's not going to just turn into a villain. Okay, right at the end of the movie. It's not going to happen. This isn't a murder mystery. It's not Death on the Nile. This is a rom-com. And so he transfers the property to her name. Okay, he apologizes. He's like, I don't deserve you. I don't deserve the house. And, you can have this. This is your dream. I'm not going to shatter your dreams. And, I deserve to keep living with my parents at the railway house. And so wedding procession is already underway. She gets this letter, or it's actually not a letter. It's like a video letter. He's saying all this. She sees the deed. It's all transferred to her name. She's running after looking for him. Actually, they should have put a train sequence here. Actually would have been nice. A little cliche, though. But there's a wedding procession. They confess to each other. She's like, let's just get married. Now I know you love me kind of thing. Of course. And they live happily ever after. You see a shot of them at the end of the movie. They've lived together. They're getting ready. And Sanju, Vicky Kaushal, looks out on his balcony. And across the way is a cameo, a surprise, a callback. It is actually serendipitous that this was the movie for this week, considering the episode with the love and war. And so, yes, who was the cameo? It was Ranbir Kapoor. Ranbir Kapoor is sitting on his roof of his place and he's brushing his teeth. So it's a throwback to the first scene, call back to the first scene of Sanju doing the same, brushing his teeth on the roof because he can't, there's no room in the bathroom. And you hear Ranbir Kapoor say the same lines of well, now I don't even need to use the bathroom. And so it was cute, cute surprise, welcome surprise, love a cameo in any movie, really. So yes, that is love per square foot. So I hope you enjoyed that little recap. I am practicing these recaps, you guys, because I'm gearing up. We're about to have a lot of fun with the Call Me Bae recaps that we're doing for Nanya Pandey's new show. So with that being said, send in your questions, your comments, your feedback, anything you want me to watch, suggestions, how to keep this fresh. We haven't done a little bit of an astrology deep dive or a listener question in a minute. So we haven't done our teacup time. So we're going to have to do that next week. I'm going to have to sift through and see some of the stuff you guys have been writing in. And with that, I will catch you all next week with a lot of masala chai. And if you're not already subscribe on YouTube or Spotify or Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. We do a video of this on YouTube, which is fun. Kind of fun. Not fun for me. Very awkward, actually, for me. I'm adjusting. And we also are very, very active on Instagram. We have a lot of polls and we have a lot of reels and people, fight in the comments. I love it. Let's keep it going. So that being said, until next week, bye.